Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of Vesuvius Town Council, Tuesday, January the 12th, 2021 at 2:10 in Council Chambers. And first off, we apologize that for the delay. We had some issues with the server being plugged in or some such thing. However, it's been solved now, and we are ready to get started. So we will have a resolution to exclude the public, and it will be moved and seconded by councillors that in accordance with Ministerial Order M192, Town of Vesuvius regular open council meeting continues to be closed to the public due to the inability to meet physical distancing recommendations made under the Public Health Act in council chambers located at 8707 Main Street. And that to ensure openness, transparency, accessibility, and accountability, the Town of Vesuvius regular open council meetings will continue to be recorded, live streamed, and published on the town's website, and that the regular open meetings be streamed on Eastlink's community channel. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. The adoption of some minutes, and this would be...
Gonna approve the agenda first, Your Worship.
I apologize, you're quite right. We've changed the agenda a little bit. So we need to approve the agenda and late items, of which we don't have any, I don't think. Okay, so we need to approve the agenda. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor? Thank you. Now we'll do the adoption of some minutes, and that would be the regular open minutes of December the 20th, 2020. Councillor King, Councillor Harvey, all in favor. Thank you. Business arising from the minutes. None. And the next item, and this is a slight variation on our agenda, would be public and other hearings and third reading or adoption of bylaws where applicable after each hearing, and there is none. Petitions and delegations, none. So next is the water matters, and that would be this would be the contract award, and that would be Mr. Brownstein, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a staff report before you for the award of the Twin Domestic Distribution System number 9, contract 2. This is for the area east of Highway.
Hold it.
Oh,
We can't hear. He's just a murmur.
Sorry, can you take your mask off, please, when you're talking?
No,
I think.
Turn this thing on.
Okay, would that work? Please let us know if you are still having trouble. Councillor Appleby?
Can you hear me now, Councillor Appleby?
I think so.
Okay, good, thank you.
So, sorry for that, Your Worship. So yes, you have a staff report before you for the contract award of the Twin Domestic Water System south of town, contract 2. This will be for the area east of Highway 97. We are requesting that Council authorize staff to enter into a contract with Twin Enterprises for the works outlined in contract documents Twin Domestic Water Distribution System number 9, contract 2, for the amount of $2.671950.12 million. And just for information, TwinCon was the lowest bid at 17 bids. They ranged from 6.3 million to 2.6 million, which was a successful bidder.
It's unbelievable that the bids could be that far apart. Could I ask Mr. Brownstein, do we have any idea when this contract would be started and when it would be completed?
Not at this time, Your Worship. We have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow with the successful contractor, seeing the fact that once this has gone through, I'll have a better timeline once that meeting has been done, but I am assuming they'll be looking to get going as quick as possible. So anticipating completion along the same timeline as contract 1, so probably within 3 months of it starting, it will be done.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Karloff. Are they the same contractor from phase 1?
No, the initial phase was completed by Grizzly Excavating Limited, and this is Twin Con. So this is the construction company that's been doing the Peanut Pond development. They're also successful in getting our upgrades to Vedette Drive, as well as our upgrades to Bayview Wastewater Pump Station. So they will be busy in the community for a while.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Counselor Appleby, go ahead, please.
Yeah, will this contract include the line between the golf course and 107th Street?
No, it'll not, Councillor Appleby.
So you're hoping that it comes in on the budget that's there, and the 200,000 will go towards that connecting piece?
We'll see where we're at once construction is complete, and any change orders that arise during construction. There may not be sufficient funds to complete that connection. We may look at other options of further extending System 8 to the north, or look at interconnects between System 8 and the irrigation system to ease operational requirements when we go to do the switchovers each winter.
Okay, we'll deal with that in the future then. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or concerns? Is there someone who would like to, do you want us to make a recommendation, a motion to accept this?
Yes, Your
It
Worship.
says
So there is a recommendation
that's what
at foot. So staff is recommending that council award the contract to Twin Con Enterprises in the amount of 2671950.12, and that staff and signatories be authorized to enter into a contract for the work specified in the contract documents.
Thank you. Councillor King is moving that, Councillor Bennett seconding that. I will, and this would be, our water councillors would vote on this as well. All right, so could I ask for all in favor of the motion? Whoops.
I'm in favor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Morera. So that would be a unanimous vote.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate that it gets started fairly soon. Next is the unfinished business. I'm just going by the agenda here, and there is none, no correspondence. And now we're on to what we call staff reports. And the first one is the lease agreement for Desert Sun Counselling Resource Center, and that would be from Mrs. Hilson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In January of 2018, the town entered into an agreement with Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Center for the lease of a portion of the building located at 8701 Main Street. Desert Sun Counseling uses approximately 915 square feet of the building for their use. The agreement was for a 3-year term which expired on December 31st of 2020. At the December 21st, 2020 regular open meeting, Council authorized the notice of the intention to lease a portion of the building at 8701 Main Street to Desert Sun Counseling. In accordance with Section 26 of the Community Charter, staff have posted a copy of the town's intention to lease the building to Desert Sun on the town's public notice board at Town Hall on Tuesday, December 21st. An advertisement was published twice on December 23rd and December 30th editions of the Times Chronicle. Desert Sun Counseling is a not-for-profit organization that provides services to Oliver and Soyuz and does not charge for the services they provide to their clientele. They provide crisis help counseling, community outreach, affordable housing, and they operate programs for families such as their community kitchen, Mother Goose, and Mother Goose program. Desert Sun provides programs for seniors such as their Better at Home program. This program offers a range of non-medical home support services such as yard work, home repairs, snow shoveling, housekeeping, and grocery shopping for seniors communities that they serve. Desert Sun also provides various programs such as the Men's Shed, computer tutoring, Roots of Empathy. Sorry, just one second.
You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
And Writing Out Loud. The services they provide to the community are far-reaching and positively impact those that they serve. Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Center pay the town $800 a month for rent and pays a portion of the natural gas and electrical utilities based on the square footage they occupy. The proposed rate works out to $10.49 a square.
Excuse me, I've lost audio.
I wonder if I muted.
Okay, just Just a minute, Councillor Harvey.
Can't hear anything.
The host would like you to unmute your microphone. You can press star 6 to unmute. You are unmuted.
Sorry, Brian, when I unmuted Councillor Marrera.
Can you hear now, Councillor Harvey?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
Sorry. So Desert Sun Counseling Resource Center pays the town $800 a month for rent and pays a portion of the natural gas, electrical utilities based on square footage that they occupy. The proposed rate works out to $10.49 a square foot and includes the use of shared space with the town without additional charges. The rent charged to Desert Sun Counseling is comparable to other rates charged by the town for public institutional use. Council has approved the intention to lease a portion of the Sonora Community Center to the Okanagan Regional Library for $9.40 a square foot, plus an additional rate of $6 a square foot for the cost of utilities, maintenance, and janitorial service. Staff are also recommending adding a 2% increase in the years 2 and 3 of the agreement. Staff have contacted Desert Sun Counseling, and they are in agreement with the new terms of the lease. The lease contains a termination clause of 90 days notice for either party, and the agreement does not permit Desert Sun Counseling to sublet. However, the town may rent the remaining 3 offices subject to Desert Sun's approval. The lease agreement requires Desert Sun to obtain $2 million comprehensive general liability insurance with the town named as an additional insured in the policy, as well as content insurance. Desert Sun Counseling is responsible for the janitorial cost for the building, and the town is responsible for the building's property insurance, maintenance of the plumbing, HVAC, and electrical systems, and provides snow removal. And the town also uses the rear portion of the building for record storage. So implications to the community, the use of a town building by a not-for-profit service group providing valuable services to the community organizationally, monitoring of the lease, budget, $800 lease revenue per month, significant dates, the lease expired at the end of last year, and options before council is that council approves the lease with Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Center for a portion of the property legally described as lots 5 to 7, Plan 5120, LD 54, District Lot 2450S, and more commonly referred to as 8701 Main Street, for a 3-year term commencing on January 1st, 2021 at the initial rate of $800 per month, and that the town signatories be authorized to sign the agreement. And number 2, option before council is that council directs staff to make changes to the lease, or 3, that council does not approve to lease a portion of the property at 8701 Main Street to Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Center. And staff are recommending option 1. Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Centers provides a valuable and much needed service to our community.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McArdle. I'll move the staff recommended option number 1.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Bennett? Did you have a question? Go
I
ahead.
have a comment. I totally support this opportunity for Desert Sun. I'm just wondering why these aren't negotiated before the year end or before their contract runs out, when there's 90 days notice. Shouldn't these for next time, move these ahead a little so they can get passed
Yes,
properly?
we are in the process of doing records management to ensure that all contracts are caught.
Done.
Yeah, about,
Okay, I
yeah.
appreciate that.
We would like to actually get them like on a 6-month ahead, so that gives us adequate time to prepare the notices and reports for council.
So should this contract be changed to 6 months instead of 90 days?
No, because staff will track it 6 months ahead of time, so
Okay.
we'll get a flag 6 months ahead, so that way that gives us time to negotiate
I
with the
appreciate
other
that.
party.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. Did we vote on that?
No, we
did.
just moved and seconded.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we go with option 1. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's carried. And next is the development variance permit. Ms. McKay.
Thank you, Mayor McCordle. So this particular application has been submitted by the owners of the subject property, Christina Lowther and Chris Lowther, at 8516 32nd Avenue, and it's a development variance application to vary two sections of the zoning bylaw. The first being the section that disallows for an accessory building within the front yard, and the second by reducing the front yard setback from 6 meters to 4 meters. And again, the purpose of this particular report is to provide information to council on this particular application and look to council support to notify the neighbors prior to issuance of the permit. So the subject property is irregular in shape. It has a flat topography. The rear of the subject property abuts an unbuilt road allowance, which serves as a walking path to Haynes Point from Oleander Drive. So as noted in your map and in the aerial photograph, the homes to the east and west each have unattached garages in the front yard. And of course, I had to do a little digging on that one and determined that in previous zoning bylaw 642, which was repealed, it did not restrict the placement of garages within the front yard, and one of the two homes, actually, I believe, was 8510, to get a variance for to move the garage closer to the front lot line. So our particular zoning bylaw 1085/1998, section 4.4.4 specifically states an accessory building or structure shall not be located within a front yard. And section 8.2.2.1, under the single-family residential zone, specifies that the minimum front yard setback shall be 6 meters. So a variance to each of those sections of the zoning bylaw is required for them in order for them to get a building permit for the proposed garage. So town council does have a policy on considering development variance permits, which states that the consideration to the impact of new viewpoints of neighbors shall be considered by council when you take into consideration the evaluating your variance requests. Such as, therefore, we will be sending out notifications of councils to proceed with this, and we will put this on your next agenda, which is January 26th. Now, staff does support the requested variance, of course, subject to the input received from the neighbors. The proposed garage will be similar to those on either side, and also it is a single-story garage. It does blend in well with the existing home and the property. So implications are as follows to the community. In accordance with council policy, of course, council shall provide an opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments on the proposal. And additionally, the additional task, of course, would be for staff to monitor the building permit application to ensure compliance with the variance permit and that there's no lapse in the permit. There are no impacts to our budget associated with this variance application. Again, if council accepts the application, authorizes issuance, staff will then proceed with mailing and hand delivery of the notices within 60-meter radius of the subject property. Sustainability, of course, construction of the accessory building in proposed location will not result in any adverse impacts to the natural environment. Options before council today are one in two parts. A, council accepts the application for development variance permit 20-07, and B, that council authorizes staff to proceed with the notification process. And of course, staff are recommending option one. Thank you, Mayor McCordoff.
Thank you very much, Ms. McKay. Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll move the staff recommended option 1A, and I do have a couple of questions.
Absolutely.
There's a
Is there
second.
somebody who'd like to second that? The staff option 1A? Go ahead, Councillor Bennett. Thank you. Now, go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. There was no legend attached to the aerial photo. I'm curious about what the green line is. And where would the structure be located? It looks like there's some existing ones there right now. And
Oh, okay. So thank you very much. This is a very good question. So the green line is actually road right of way. So
even
that-
on the lakeside? Okay.
That's town municipal unbuilt road allowance, which is within which we're going to put our new Acacia Court Trail, I
Yeah.
hope.
The town boundary,
I beg your pardon?
isn't that the town boundary?
Yes, but the town, you mean at the front lot line?
Well, if I look at this
Oh.
map, it shows that the road is actually in the regional
Oh, I'm
district.
sorry, I was looking at the road behind the behind the
Oh, okay,
pole.
well, it
To
looks
the
like
north?
it follows it there too.
Yeah, so it's a little bit difficult to look at on the aerial photograph there, but it is the town boundary at the front of the property line. And then at the rear, that's also the town boundary, but
Okay.
actually that is unbuilt road allowance.
Yeah, that I knew.
Right. So then if you look in the development draft development permit, it's on page The one that shows this one here, Counselor?
Mhm.
You can see where the actual placement of the garage is in the front lot line.
Page 47 of 54 is
it
what I've got,
47?
yeah.
Thank you, Mayor McCord, if I don't have that section.
If, just for clarity, I was curious that it looked like there was some structures there already and some vegetation growth. I don't know, maybe I'm just not looking at
Oh,
it
okay,
correctly.
so if you look, that, long structure is actually an RV that's parked in the driveway on 8516, and then the structure just to the west of it is actually a little play structure, a little kids'
Okay.
playhouse, and that will be removed.
Is there any old growth trees or anything in there that obviously will be removed, or?
There's no old growth trees there to be removed.
Okay,
But if you go down and you have a look at the property, I did have them mark it out on the property where it will be, and I'm not sure if you'll still be able to see the lines there, but I can have them put that down there if that would be helpful.
no, I think you answered the question.
Okay.
Yeah, great, thank you.
I was down there yesterday, the day before, and there are some shrubs, not
Right.
trees, but shrubs around the front, which my assumption is they're going to have to be taken out in order to put the garage in,
Well, those shrubs are actually,
on the road allowance.
no,
Oh.
they're not. I don't think they have to be removed.
Oh, all right, there doesn't look like enough room to have them, however, it's hard to know from drawings, so.
Yeah, it's a bit deceiving, thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Unless you're down there, I
Yeah.
did, as I say, before we determined whether or not we were going to, recommend approval, because we don't take people's money first unless we let them know whether or not staff considers it to be a reasonable request. Of course, people are still allowed to apply, but we always let them know up front. So they did mark it out, and it did not seem to be intrusive on the property, but I encourage you to go down and have a look for
Yeah.
yourself.
No, I'm glad that it's a single
Yes.
height, because I think that would be a bit of a confusing issue if they wanted to put it up taller.
I
I'm not
appreciate
sure
that,
that neighbors would agree to that. However, I think it looks like it's reasonable. Go ahead, Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor McCord. Basically, when I went down there, I'm fine with this because across the road is regional district, and that's an orchard. And what we call a front yard, to me, this would be kind of their backyard, because the people beside them are all looking out on the lake on the other side. So basically, across the street is an orchard, so I don't see this impeding anybody's looks
Yeah.
or views.
That's an interesting point you made,
It is.
Councilor Bennett, because I did have actually, somebody ask me if that could not be considered their backyard, because it's road allowance in the front, but that would then, to me, imply that we're going to be allowing access along that road, which is
we
gonna,
can.
of course, be our new trail.
So that's the only access in and out of the
That's
property, so
correct.
it has to be, that has to be the only place,
That's
yeah.
correct.
Okay, so, have we had no, we've had Councillor Rhodes, or was it Councillor Rhodes? Councillor Bennett that made the motion to accept the application, in other words, 1A. I don't think we've had a vote on that. Am I correct?
No.
Okay. Any other questions first? All right, all in favor of 1A? Thank you, that's everybody. We are now looking at option 1B. Councillor King is moving that we authorize staff to proceed with notification process, and those people then would be asked to phone in if they wished on the 26th. Is that how that would work?
Right, that's,
If we're written submissions.
that's
just
correct.
written submissions.
In the notification, we've requested them to provide written submissions.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you seconding that? Thank you very much. So we will vote on that. It's been moved and seconded that we go with option 1B. All in favor? Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
you,
you.
Ms. McKay. And we are now going to, hang on, one up from there. We're going to do things a little bit differently with our general net payroll and Sunbowl Arena financial accounts. So I'm going to report on it, and we're going to ask for 3 separate motions on this. So this is to report on expenditures from accounts payable for council approval and payroll information for council to receive. So first up is the, as of January the 12th, 2021, the general cash requirements are $643,567.56. And could we please have a motion that that be approved? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, you okay with that? All in favor? Thank you. Next is the Sun Bowl cash requirements of $1,173.35. And the same procedure, we need it moved and seconded, please, that this be approved. Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor? Thank you. And next is the net payroll accounts of $199,943.30, and that this be accepted as information. But we need it moved and seconded. Councillor King, Councillor Bennett, did you have a question? Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
do. Why are we not approving this net payroll accounts?
Money's already been deposited in the employees' bank accounts, timesheets have been approved, signed off, so it's really,
After the fact?
it's been paid, yeah.
So depending on the time of the month and when we have our council meetings, this will happen once in a while? They'll get paid before we pass it?
Almost always.
Just what always?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It's just a slightly
No,
different
I
way of doing it.
realize
yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
paper thing, but I mean, it's,
Yeah,
Yeah, this is.
passing
I
something
get
after
it.
the fact doesn't sound right to me.
Same with approving the general cash requirements, because those vendors have been paid.
yes,
They've been mailed checks or they've got electronic fund transfers.
I got you.
There's different schools of thought about whether or not this is useful as a tool for council's financial oversight of budget and municipal expenditures. I've got my own views on it. Because you're not getting the details.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
well, I
general
agree,
cash
I agree,
requirements.
I agree.
So you don't know what you're approving.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
looked through it before I put my name on this, because I get all the background to it, and it's interesting, because it varies. Sometimes you'll see a really big invoice to a contractor's been paid, and general cash requirements generally run about $600,000 miscellaneous expenditures. Sometimes it'll jump up to $2 million. Well, I'd wanna know what's different.
Well, plus I
So
guess-
two people have to sign those checks, one of them being one of us.
Yeah.
So when I sign the checks, I always have a quick peek, and if I'm concerned, I ask somebody.
But the
And
majority of our vendors are set up for electronic funds.
Yes,
So they're paid
Yeah.
electronically.
right, so they don't get a check, so, yeah.
But the finance clerk and Mr. Zackel are approving all of those things before the
Right.
transfer is sent.
So this is not just approving the checks, this is approving everything, even the ones that are electronic transfers, okay. Counselor Harvey had a question.
Yeah, this is a change in process from over the last 2 years on this agenda item, where now it's put, each of these three items is put to a motion for approval by council. And we've never done that before in my term on council. So I'm just trying to understand why the change in process. I'm not objecting to it. I'm just trying to understand what caused this change in process.
So Alan and I were reviewing, and we used to it would say moved by consensus, but council really never took a vote on moving the accounts. So really you should be, if you're moving by consensus, you're actually making a motion of some sort, and council we kind of just brushed over top of them. Like, we just quickly, talked about them. So now that we have, we're using the new council procedure bylaw, we felt that we should be formalizing this process.
And as long as I've been on council, it's been the way we always did
Yeah.
it too. I just assumed that was appropriate. I mean, we looked at it. Counselor,
So
sorry, go ahead.
Is consensus still required? Like, what would happen if one councillor objected?
it would be noted, I guess.
Yes, it would be,
Consensus and unanimity are different things, right?
Yes.
So generally, yeah, we just thought it better to tidy up the minutes. We were seeing the minutes recording motions that weren't really motions.
Okay. You all right, Counselor Harvey?
That's
And
fine.
if anybody wants to see ahead of a meeting, all the background behind this, we can email it to you. It just doesn't seem worthwhile to reproduce that many pages of just numbers. But if you ever wanted to see it, it's always available.
Okay. Counselor Rhodes and then Counselor King.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Just a comment, in 2010, that's why we started doing it this way, maybe 2009, because the report was lengthy. At that time, we were just kind of getting into the email process, and it was all, we'd had stacks of paper on our council desks like this. But I do have to ask, I know you noticed, or you mentioned that you had your own opinion about it. Is there a better way to do this?
I think there are probably better tools for council to provide financial oversight
Well, then why
and
don't we?
authorize. And
we
that's
look
something
at
that we
them?
can discuss, because one of the things that's on council's priority list was a financial planning and budgeting policy. And the longer I'm here, the more I see the need for there to be some improved clarity around who, what, where, when, and why we do these things, both for council, who are supposed to make the decision, and for the community that we're supposed to be open and transparent with. So that's something I hope to bring forward to committee of the whole meeting for council discussion, along with Mr. Zackel when he's got a moment. I mean, he's in the throes of year-end annual budgeting, T4s, processing retro pay for both the QP and the management staff. So not the best time right now, but I think during the course of the year, and we'll try to get in front of putting it all together so that the financial implications of individual decisions are understood by council as they're making them, the financial implications as a whole, as Councillor Harvey's told us a number of times he'd like to see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Counselor King, did you have a
No,
question?
I'll pass.
Okay.
I think we should definitely look at a better way of doing this.
All right, so have we moved and we voted on all of those?
no, you just need to,
We did-
vote on the last.
We didn't vote on the last
No.
one. All right, so what we need, have we got it moved and seconded? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that payroll accounts, the amount of $199,943 be accepted as information. All, yes,
I got a question.
okay.
We're passing number 1 and it's already been paid, and now you're turning down number 3 and it's already paid. What is the difference? Why are we turning this one down, we passed the other one?
No, we're asking
We-
council to
Accept it. Accept it.
As
It says do not approve.
No, the
No, that's
motion,
an option.
that's an option, but
That's
the
an
mo,
option, that's not a recommendation.
the motion before council is that the payroll accounts, in the amount of $199,943.30 be accepted as information.
So the recommendation is options 1 and 2.
Right.
Number 3 is you could not approve, and what would stem from that, I don't really know. Good question, isn't it?
It is.
So we're,
Interesting.
we're going to go that it is accepted for information. That's what we've moved and seconded. You all right
Yes.
with that?
I guess we gotta deal with it, yeah.
I agree. It's a little bit tricky this time because we have some different ways of dealing with it this month, and we'll
Yeah,
get
maybe
used
we
to
had
it.
some discussion about it.
Yeah,
I think
for
that's
sure.
useful.
So, one more question.
Yes.
So does this particular things have to be passed by everybody? Or this is just for information, so we're just accepting it as factual?
I'm not, the last few places I've worked, this practice has been discontinued,
Excellent.
and that council then receives often a quarterly update on the budget and progress and expenditure against budget for all of the various line items, as opposed to this process over here. In one community, they actually printed the the list of check register, and it was added to the regular agenda. I took it off, and I told council that I didn't think it served any real purpose. It was what I called a busybody report, and it caused people to complain and make
Yeah, for
inquiries about things that made no sense. We then brought it back because there was some people who were observing council meetings who found it of interest, and if the community thinks it's, and they find value in it, I'm not going to question that. But we put it on a committee of the whole agenda instead. It really had no purpose on a regular council agenda. I can certainly talk this over. This is what I came to, an established practice, and I'm happy to continue those if council's happy with them or consider changing them.
And I believe we are working up to a quarterly report on the budget so we can kind of get ahead of it or stay on top of it.
Yeah, I think in more ordinary times, I think that's what's been happening here, is you've been getting a quarterly update on it, and I think the year we just had kind of put a bunch of things off kilter.
We still had technology.
Including me.
We still had technology. Okay, let's move forward.
So it's accepted as information, but we still need to vote on it to be accepted as information. Is that correct? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, if we're gonna put it on an agenda, we're gonna do
Okay.
something with it, yeah.
So have we voted on that? No. So anybody else have any more questions? All right, so can we, moved and seconded, can we accept this as information? All in favor? Okay, good. Thank you. We may have some other ones too. So next we have the building report. And this is a summary of building permits. I see that the month of December, this would be has 567,500. And year-to-date, 8,500,000, and to date in 2019 was double that, 17 million. So it seems that we have a couple, well, at least one single-family dwelling, and some additions, and showers and partial demolition, in-ground pool. Anybody have any concerns about any of these or any questions? No? All right, so what we need then is a motion to accept the building permit report for the month of December. Councillor Rhodes? Councillor King? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. All right. We're going back to the agenda again. We have no bylaws, no new business, no notice of motion, no reports of committees and committee of the whole. And next we have the report from the CAO, Mr. Chabot.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship, and a Happy New Year to Mayor and Council and to the town of Vesuvius. As we've all noted, this is the first meeting of 2021 and the first meeting with a new council procedure bylaw. A couple of things that'll be most notable that will be somewhat different is the meeting dates. Instead of council meetings being held on the first and the third Mondays of each month, they're generally going to be held on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. Exceptions planned so far this year is only one meeting in July, and that's the fourth Tuesday in July, and the only one meeting in December, and that's the second Tuesday in December. The other thing that'll look and feel a little bit different is how council will address any closed meeting items, any in-camera items, and we've provided in the new procedure bylaw, council's approved a portion of the regular agendas being for in-camera business. And that way, notice of a special meeting doesn't have to be given. We don't have to drag you to two meetings instead of just one. So that's going to look and feel a little bit different. We will interrupt the live stream and the recording of the meetings for the in-camera portion. If after the in-camera, council is going to adjourn the closed session back to the regular meeting, if there's any items to report out from in-camera to the community, we'll turn the recording back on so that it's archived and available for people to see it. That's going to be probably a bit of a rarity or it might be that something's gonna come out in camera at some later date. But so, just so folks are aware that from time to time may happen. So, yeah, it's gonna look and feel a little bit different, but I think overall, once we become accustomed to the changes, it should work quite well. So, I've got a slightly smaller than normal report, and it's in part because part of the last couple week period included the period between Christmas and New Year's, when our offices were generally closed. So just a couple things to note for myself. With the assistance of staff and a couple of fire department members, we've commenced the process of introductory interviews with a long short list of candidates for fire chief. We'll complete those tomorrow in the afternoon, and then hope to have a short list of individuals that we'd like to meet in person as best we can in these times right now. Working on some outstanding capital projects and things that are in the works for me. The Director of Community Services and I met with a couple of representatives of Desert Park to discuss the renewal of the license of occupation between the town and the society that council asked us to enter into a conversation with them about as a result of Mr. Davis's report on the need to repair the infrastructure that supports the RV sites at Desert Park. So we've got another meeting planned next week sometime, and then they are planning to make a presentation to council on January the 26th at Committee of the Whole. They'll do so electronically, but they just want to speak with council about their goals and their objectives and where they see things going. So community services, of course, Gerald was involved in that with me. We do have a bit of public skating at Sun Bowl Arena. Folks have to call in and register ahead so that we can meet COVID-19 protocols there. Some other winter programs are available at the Sonora Center, and the weight room is still open. People will be able to book for additional winter programs starting today. Again, COVID-19 protocols, contact tracing forms need to be completed. People need to call ahead and book a time for the weight room, etc. Corporate officers been busy with human resource matters and job postings and job interviews, helping me with the fire chief things, getting used to and reformatting council agendas and things. Financial services, I noted earlier, it's year-end preparation for the audit, preparation of the budget, updates to payroll software, preparation of T4s, helping with fire chief interviews and all of that. Fire department has been busy. They've responded to 3 structure fires already in 2021. One structure fire which tragically resulted in one person being deceased. Our condolences to the family and friends of that individual and the other person who was badly injured in that fire, and best wishes for a speedy recovery. So that's a big deal for our responders as well as it is for the family, and so we've been doing the necessary things to help them deal with what they've experienced through this tragedy as well. And again, our apologies and condolences to the family. Fire rescue was out to an MVA in Bridesville that required an extraction, and one of our members accompanied an injured party in the ambulance all the way to the Penticton General Hospital. 3 of our firefighters have completed air brakes training and will now start training on driving the larger apparatus in our fleet, which is good news. Planning and Development Services continues to be busy. The applications are coming in. Building permits are a little bit slow right now, and they are typically this time of year, more so in places with a little more winter than us, but typical. And you noted that the building permit values were about 50% of last year for 2020 over 2019. I don't think that's uncommon. Some jurisdictions have experienced an increase and some a decrease. I think overall the provision and the construction of new homes has led to a supply-demand imbalance because people are buying single-family homes predominantly, and the market's not keeping up with replacement demand. And so that's causing the run-up on prices that we're starting to see and have seen throughout the fall after things shut down. I mean, a lot of projects got canceled in March, April, May, June, when this pandemic was new, and it's taken a while for some things to get back online. BYLAWS services are dealing with abandoned vehicles, animal control, dog licensing. It's time period to license your dog. Dealing with some parking issues. Operational services, the power failure that we had in parts of town on Tuesday night sometimes has us scrambling depending on how widespread it is. Some of our infrastructure, water and sewer infrastructure, lacks backup power generation, and so we've got portable generators that sometimes need to be deployed. That occurred last Tuesday when the power was out for in excess of, I believe, 4 hours in parts of town. Christmas lights are coming down. I commented that in my view that seemed a little early. We're still in the dark days of winter, and it'd be nice to light up the community a little bit longer after all the effort of installing them. Keep it up till the 15th of January or so at least. And also I noted that January 7th is the Orthodox Catholic Christmas. And so if we're going to go to all the trouble, it would seem in part we'd want to keep them until then as well. So it's January 7th every year for those folks. We had a couple of small snow events, and there was a little bit of snow plowing and mostly some abrasive application to streets to keep them from being too slippery. Fortunately, it all melted rather quickly, and we're all very happy about that. At least I am. I look at it, it's just so green out there. It looks like we should go golfing. Contract 2, large contract for the domestic twinning in Water District 9. Council just approved it today, $2.6 million. A new contractor commenced the operation of the Soyuz Sanitary Landfill on January 1st, Whistle Waste Solutions, and we've got a 10-year agreement with them to operate the landfill for the town. That's it, Your Worship. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chabot. And so we need a motion, please, to receive the CAO report. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. So we'll go to council reports. Councillor Bennett, you're first.
Thank you, your mayor, Madam Mayor. I guess the one thing I've been kind of attending is the Trails of the Okanagan. The Trails of the Okanagan. I went on their board, and we've had some meetings, and that's trying to get the trail, the biking trail from the Bennett Bridge all the way to the Soyuz border. And there's people in each one of the communities. And basically the big part of this is trying to get cycle tourism as a big play in the South Okanagan, which provides billions of dollars in places like Oregon and different states. Then the second one is the primary care network, which maybe you can help me a little bit on. I just was quite disappointed when I heard that the OSRH district voted no to funding part of the IHA funding network. And the primary care network, I've sat on that committee for a couple of years, and the idea was to promote getting smaller primary care places like in the Soyuz, and now it doesn't sound like it's going forward. And my last meeting, I was told that we were going to the IHA was proposing funding for here, and now I'm seeing in the paper that that's now been turned down. So I'm just really disappointed in that, because that's 2 years of work we did, and but I'm sure there's more to the story from the regional district. That's my reports.
Thank you very much. And in my report, I will talk about that because, yeah.
Thank you.
So, Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have a report this week,
Thank you.
other than Happy New Year to
Yes.
Mayor and Council and staff, and anybody from town that's listening in today.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Well, ditto everything Councillor Harvey said.
Okay, thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We had a Zoom meeting last week with the Age-Friendly Accessibility Committee. We had some great discussion around some new items we'd like to bring forward this year. One is a trail signage, but have some braille on it so people that can't see can understand the distance and the challenge of these trails. Maybe a scented garden along Pioneer Walkway. And then there was a major discussion around the terms of reference on about how many people should sit on that committee, and we'll discuss that later.
Good, thank you. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone, all of our staff and council and the citizens of Vesuvius. And the CAO mentioned the fire that happened down at a home where a young man was killed and died of his burns, and his father is not well still, is in the hospital. But what absolutely amazes me is the amount of volunteer food and money that has been collected in this town by not only the citizens, but the people over at BYLAWS and some of the stores. I can't remember how much it is now, but it's an amazing amount, and it just shows that that people care and they are willing to help. So I applaud everybody for doing this, and I'm sure that the family, the Braga family, will be very well helped for a while, plus the other lady that was in the top of the house as well. So ESS services have been involved in Vesuvius and the regional district, and our fire department did an amazing job at dealing with this very promptly. So thank you to everybody. You know, Vesuvius is a great place to live and to help people. I want to talk a little bit about the regional district and the health district. So I am the vice chair of the Okanagan-Similkameen Regional Hospital District. The chair is a counselor from Penticton, Judy Sentes. We have had a long conversation many times. The last one was at the regional district meeting last week, where we were asked to consider supporting primary care networks with tax dollars plus recruitment of doctors. And I spoke to it along with several other people. Right now, the mission of the hospital district is to provide 40% of the funding for hospitals and for the equipment, the funding for building them and the equipment. And you will recall that for the last 5 years, you have been charged on your taxes, all of us, to help with the Penticton Regional Hospital. And it went up $5 each year. And that was a regional hospital that serves everybody in the RDOS. This particular issue, and I voted to maintain the status quo at when the vote came last week at our regional district meeting, because I think we need to have more conversations about where the money is coming from. I'll tell you that at this meeting, they said, well, why weren't we wanting to support primary care networks in the whole area? And I said, from Vesuvius's point of view, if we were to take money and support that, I think we should be top of the list. We're the only municipality that does not have a hospital directly in our community. And the rest of the people that were there kind of looked at me, because according to the list that they have had, and you are aware of this, Councillor Bennett, Vesuvius was sort of at the bottom of the list. There were several other things that came up first. And so my point was, I don't see that we can take money from everybody, which we already do for doing buildings and so on, and say we're going to reapportion that to primary care networks and to hiring doctors, because we don't have a mechanism for doing that efficiently and fairly right now. So, do I think that that we should be supporting primary care and recruiting doctors? Absolutely. But that was not what the issue was that was brought up. But I'll tell you that the chair and I are having a meeting with Interior Health tomorrow morning, and we are going to look at what are the things that Interior Health for out of Penticton is asking us to support this year. And certainly we are going to say we need to find a better way of helping our communities deal with doctor shortages, with getting doctors here, and with building primary care networks. I understand, if you can believe Facebook, that there are 2 new doctors coming to Osoyoos. I don't know anything about that yet, but they're apparently coming in the next couple of months. And I can't say that for sure, but I read it on Facebook, so my assumption is everybody else has read it too. Believe me, it's not all doom and gloom, Director Bennett. I think that we will work forward with this and we will find a way to make it work. But legally right now, we can only collect money, the regional district can only collect it to be given to hospitals. That's the way it reads. So we can't change that without having a look at other bylaws. So it's being worked on. So believe me, the chair and I will be bringing up all of these issues tomorrow morning for sure. And it was Carl Meadows from Interior Health that asked for the meeting because he'd heard that we were concerned about it. And we want to know what Interior Health is going to bring to our next regional district meeting in terms of money and what things they think that they would like on the list that we should buy. So we need to have a look at that too. So that's a big issue that we're dealing with right now. And the last thing that that I'd like to bring up is that on January the 14th of this year, it is Osoyoos' 75th birthday. In January the 14th, 1946, Osoyoos was incorporated as a village. And I did a little bit of research on this last week because we'd known about this. We decided we could not put on a barbecue or have parties or anything like that to celebrate this at this time of year, not only because it might be raining, not necessarily snowing, but we're just not sure with COVID how we would successfully do that. So we have decided to perhaps postpone something like that, a celebration, until later. But I did have a look at a little bit of the past history and wrote up something quite short and sweet, I think. I sent it to the CAO who had a look at it, and it will be an ad in the paper this week that is asking everybody in Osoyoos to celebrate 75 years of living in this wonderful community. Okay, so happy birthday, Osoyoos. So that's my report. Now, according to our agenda, we're going to go into an in-camera meeting, and we're going to do that and move that first, and then, okay. So, pursuant to Section 91 of the Community Charter, a part of a council meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered relates to or is one of more of the following. Section 91A, municipal appointment, personal information about an identifiable individual who holds or is being considered for a position as an officer, employee, or agent of the municipality, or another position appointed by the municipality, or number 2, Section 91G, litigation, or potential litigation affecting the municipality. So I would like council to move, and a seconder, please, that the public be excluded from the in-camera meeting pursuant to Section 91A of municipal appointment, personal information about an identifiable, just what I read, individual who holds or is being considered for a position, and Section 91G, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality of the community charter. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize that those were exactly the same. So could we have a mover and a seconder, please, that we move to an in-camera section? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. So we will go back to item S on our regular meeting agenda, and I will ask for a motion, please, to terminate the regular open meeting at 4 o'clock. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor?
Well, we're getting serious terminating.